Hello, my name is Cody Campos, and I'd like to tell you guys about my hero today. First, let me go ahead and introduce my audience. I have Miss Hannah, Darby, Brian, Hope, and my cameraman, Greg. So the year is 1940, and the world is at war. Your home country of Poland was captured and capitulated in just 36 days. This is where the story of my hero begins. Witold Pilecki found himself in such a situation 77 years ago, and his incredible response to his terrible situation will shock you all. Initially, Poland's communist government had repressed any stories of Pilecki, but after its collapse in 1989, his story was able to be told to you today. Now, I define a hero as any individual that's willing to sacrifice his or her own life, well-being, or financial status to improve that of another human being's. I'd like to take some time and tell you exactly how Witold Pilecki did that. Witold Pilecki had always been a true patriot. He loved his country and fought defending it in World War II. In 1939, when Poland was invaded, he knew he'd be called to fight again. Unfortunately for him, the enemy forces were too great for Poland to handle, and they were captured in just 36 days. This would have broken most people, sent them running, but not Pilecki. While others fled, disbanded, or deserted, he decided to stay and commit himself to the freedom of his people. On November 9, 1939, along with his fellow major, he founded the Secret Polish Army, an organization devoted to resisting the invasion and securing a free Poland. Pilecki and his comrades accumulated over 8,000 troops, most of which were armed. The Secret Polish Army worked tirelessly to resist foreign invasion and disrupt it wherever they could. Pilecki and his organization gave his people hope they would need to tide them over until liberation came along 4 years later. In 1940, the German army had been running its concentration camps for 7 years. However, with no survivors or inmates released, the interworkings of the camps remained a mystery. Pilecki thought to solve that. On September 19, 1940, under the pseudonym Tomasz Serfiński, he became the first and only person to ever be willingly admitted to the Auschwitz work camp, which is now a notorious death camp. Once inside the camp, the realization of what he did hit him. He knew he had to start organizing a resistance. He smuggled in camera parts as well as radio parts and had a working radio broadcast as well as pictures being sent outside of the camps to Allied forces. He originally had planned for the camp to be liberated in 1942, and after realizing he didn't have the support, took it upon himself to escape. On April 26, 1943, while working off the camp, he and his fellow comrade overpowered the guards and were able to escape. After escaping, Pilecki was able to return to the battlefield and actually fought as an infantryman in the Warsaw Uprising. He hid his identity at first until a large number of command were killed, and he was asked to lead his people to freedom once again. In October of 1945, the Polish government in exile decided that the post-war political situation afforded no hope of a victory. He was ordered to return to civilian life or escape to the West. He chose to decline both. He chose to instead stay and remain in Poland and collect evidence of atrocities committed against his people again, this time by the Soviets. On May 8, 1947, he was arrested by the newly formed communist government. He was repeatedly tortured and interrogated. On March 3, 1948, the Polish government held a show trial, a trial in which guilt had already been decided. The show trial took place and he was given 3 death sentences. Witold Pilecki, a man who did nothing but sacrifice for his country, was executed on May 25, 1948. A man that helped his country and the world in so many ways never lived to see praise for his actions. He never lived to be awarded any medals. He never lived to see the people he loved freed. He lived just long enough to make just enough sacrifices to make a difference. In conclusion, Witold Pilecki is a true hero. In place of fear, he chose hope. In place of capitulation, he chose resistance. In place of himself, he chose sacrifice. He made these decisions over and over, reinforcing his true beliefs and his commitment to heroism. He meets and exceeds every parameter I could possibly set for a hero, and I for one am glad he chose to walk a hero's path some 77 years ago.